Well, I have this color mix. I'm going to put in the shadows for the eye sockets. I see this color about here too. Let me get the smaller brush. And while I have this color, I'm going to place it along here too, where it gets a bit darker. Placing some of the shadow bits. Now that I have this smaller brush, I'm kind of refining some of the more specific details. Okay. Now I'm going to add some white to that. Color I mixed, the brown, black, and white, but now add with more white. And I'm going to place like this mid-tone where I see this color. It's like the base of the antlers. And at the bottom of the skull. This middle section here. So you can see it's starting to come together, right? All right. There's some of that orange, that lightish orange color. I'm gonna mix that with my like light tan color because there's some of that orangish tones here at the base of the antlers and up at the top of the skull. And it kind of even bleeds into this a little bit. So I can kind of blend that in there. And then I'm going to get more white, almost like pure white. Kind of mix it in with that tannish orange color. Add a lot more white, so it's almost all white, to get the lighter part of the skull. Notice how it's starting to really pop out, come forward as we add these different values. So notice I'm not being too careful. I'm kind of just slapping it on there. Don't want to get too caught up in trying to make everything perfect. Want to make sure I'm having fun and enjoying the process for sure. All right, now I can get my small brush. Well, actually, yeah, with my small brush, I'm going to add some of the darker accents. So I'm gonna get some black and my brown mixed together to make like a dark brown. And I'm going to place some of these darker accents. There's this crack going down the center of the skull, which is pretty cool. And it's kind of wiggly, it's not perfect. It's not a perfect straight line. If you do that, then it will start to look like man-made rather than a natural form. So, although you may think skulls are kind of like scary and kind of like symbolic of death, O'Keeffe really found beauty in them and in their forms, and she saw life in them. And this painting's called So I want to give you a close-up as I start to add these more specific details with my blocking in these darker notes. And then I'm going to mix a lighter brown because some of the brown isn't quite that dark. So down here, for example, there's still that kind of brown outline, but it's not quite as dark. These details on the skull, quite fascinating. Alright. Adding kind of these darker halftones in certain spots. So I'm kind of laying down color and then blending it a little bit with this brush. Also in the antlers, there's some darker accents too. And then I can also mix that lighter antler, a lighter color version of the antler color to kind of pop out some of the lights. And this is starting to make things look more three-dimensional. So continuing to add some of these darker accents. And then popping in some of these lighter highlights. Use my finger to blend it a little bit. Okay, I think that'll do for now for the skull. Let's move on to the flowers. Alright, I'm going to start placing some of these petals to this red flower. It's kind of a lot of fun shapes to it. Kind of letting each brushstroke represent a petal. Kind of like the Sumi painters in Japan, using as few brushstrokes as possible.